into October here this first Friday of the month. Again, I say you know that if you're listening, if you're watching us on Marshfield Media Access here. I'm just reminding you that some of the things we talk about on today's program may have already been resolved, or you know the outcome more than we do. Talking with Mayor Bob McManus this first Friday of the month on the radio, and you can too here at 384-2191, 384-2191. Well, we've had an inordinate amount of rain, and now cool temperatures. Fall is upon us, isn't it?
Yeah, I was listening to your weather report just a couple of minutes ago, and it's you need to change that report. We need that sun to come out. So, but yeah, we're a little tired of this rain.
I didn't hear of any particular damage being done around the city. I mean, we've had tornadoes out in Clark County, and we had some damage done in isolated areas, and the governor was around taking a look at things, but other than water coming down the hill here from time to time, our retention ponds are pretty full. I haven't heard much in the way of washouts or road blockages or anything in the city.
No, we haven't really had a really, really big storm for a while, so it's just the constant, half an inch here, 3/4 of an inch here. It takes its toll. Now
is the time when you realize the new football stadium with the artificial turf is
oh my gosh.
Thank goodness.
Yes, and my understanding is the drainage over there has been really done. When Bozen does a project, it's always done well, and all the subs and everything, and that new stadium is incredible, and it's handled this rain pretty well.
Talking about the business at hand here of the city of Marshfield, yesterday it broke on WDLB News that I know you probably can't say much because there's a lawsuit involved, but describe what took place or what's happening here as much as you can that's not behind closed doors.
Well, because there's pending litigation, there's just not really much I can say. There's a it's in the newspapers as well as you reported that there is a lawsuit against our former cable access coordinator for billing issues, and that's really the extent of what I can go. It's something that was being reviewed for a while, and it just came to where there were issues that I believe need to be resolved.
Part of the city's issues has been a minor, well, it would be considered a minor, I guess, on your part, but there was an accounting error that's coming to budget for the first time this cycle as well here. How is that shaping up?
Well, that's shaping up rather well. I'm meeting with Ron, the finance director, and Steve Barg, the city administrator, three times a week. It's amazing. There's so many different numbers that go into this. So not only what our department heads have done in submitting their budgets, but as well, there's different revenues that come that affect mill rates and levies and all this, speaking of foreign language type of math. It's coming together well. I mean, we started off in a $1.8 million hole, and that's a lot to recoup. And there are some, thought processes that say spread that out over a couple of years or 4 or 5 years. It's just not the way. It's not the responsible way to do it. So there have been, and at the Common Council meeting on Tuesday, Ron Alman is going to have a list there of all the cost-saving measures that have taken place, cuts, as well as some refinancing of some debt, to where we've got this down to a very, very palatable issue. It's not going to be near the 1.8. So I'm very optimistic about that. And I will tell you, that first budget process last year, I was still getting my bearings together. This one here, I was really a part of, and it was staggering to me, the department heads, how everyone within the city structure is really working to mitigate this, keep their expenses to a minimum, but you still have to, there's still cost of living increases. and things like this. And so the department heads in all the different departments have really been amazing. And what Steve and Ron have done with different things that came in, we one of the nice things that happened is, you might remember last year we were having a issue with we get a road allotment, and last year it went way down because of 2012 numbers that were done in roads, and we've been doing more and more road work. And so the amount we got back from the state, we thought was a big surprise. We thought it was going to be about 50,000, and it came up to be a little over 150,000. That's a significant help to where we are at. So those things, Jeff, take place literally all week. I received an email or a call from Steve on Monday or Tuesday, and it's like, we hit a little road bump here in this one issue, and then the next day, I get a good email or a good call saying, hey, something positive happened. So the whole week is there. And what I've learned is wait till that final product is there and then start making assumptions and see what you're going to have to do. So I believe that the budget process is, when we get to talking about it, it's not going to be nearly as bad as we thought.
Yeah, when you're a department head or in the city and you're thinking that much is going to be taken out of at a time when you really are trying to stay at least at what you're at, not lose anything.
Right.
I mean, never mind the fact that the budgets aren't going to be going up. They're just hoping to maintain at that point when you hear numbers like that.
Just hoping to maintain, and the city staff, the departments do still need to get snow removal equipment and things where trucks wear out. Computers where you still have those expenses that you just can't get around. You hear all the time, well, just make cuts. It's like, it's easy to say until you start going department to department and go, okay, what cuts? And that's where the rubber, meets the road. So they have done, I cannot praise the city staff and the department heads and Steve and Ron enough for what they have done. So when we get down to explaining all this, I think there's still going to be a little issue there, but it's mitigated a lot. You know what was really, and I went over this with Steve yesterday, is what is, I don't know the word, frustrating, I guess would be for me, is if we didn't have that $1.8 million hole, little mistake, and we did all the cost-saving measures that we've done this year, our financial outlook would have been incredible.
Don't tell people that. They expect you to be putting yourself in a noose every year. Right. But this is where we're going to take care of it this year, and this should help us for future years. But the issue is, realistically, the way those numbers were done before, again, it was nothing intentional. But in essence, you always had this illusion that you didn't need to do a tax increase or anything there because there was this magic money, if you will, coming in to kind of cover it. And when realistically, it just wasn't being done right. Now, the way I understand that, though, is because it was an annual part of the budget. This is not something, this is annual. It's never coming back. There's going to be 1 point. If you projected, you'd project another shortfall next year, another shortfall next year, another shortfall next year, if you had intended on having that money over a long period of time, because it was an annual infusing of that much money. So this first one is going to be the hardest.
Right.
And then from now on, you just don't, it doesn't exist. So, okay, this is where we are now, and this is why we've talked so much about it, is because that first year is going to be the hardest. Because the annual amount that you were expected to get, it will become a little bit easier to budget when you realize that isn't there anymore.
Right.
And it isn't going to be there anymore.
Because you do have to factor in, and first of all, you're exactly right. But you do have to factor in on these expenses when department heads keep putting on and making cuts for snow plow or computers or different things that are used, fire apparatus, police vehicles and stuff like that. You keep, instead of replacing a vehicle every 5 years, you kick it out every 7. At some point, that catches up with you. So, for instance, this $1.8 million deal caught up with us. So I'm very, very proud of the fact that we caught it. I'm very, very proud of the fact that we've seemed to have mitigated it and it's under control. And the attention to detail of our finances now, with Ron Allman handling that, he's one sharp guy. And so I think our outlook is going to be pretty good.
Put on your headphones there. We'll have Mike Warren in from the newsroom here. You don't see him on TV, but he's here. Go ahead.
And sorry about that. And that's a good thing. They don't want to. They don't need to see me.
Well, you got a shirt and tie on today,
right?
I know.
He's dressed up
got it right
for the radio.
But the other, the budget is the short-term impact. The long-term impact is that the other part of this story is that there was a long-term impact, and our credit rating, the city's credit rating with Moody's, took a hit because of this. I don't know how severe. I know it's just a slight hit, and I don't know how long that lasts or what we have to do as a city to turn that around, Mayor. But I know that the Moody's rating did take a hit, our credit rating.
Yeah, it changed by 1, and that is not going to. You're correct. That's not going to change overnight. They're going to have to see some changes here because, of course, the question is, and I think it's a question that everybody is realistically asking: how do you just lose 1.8? How did somebody not catch that? And so, in order to do that, we had to take money out of our, for lack of a better term, savings. So that amount goes down, and you do all these different things. So our Moody's rating going back up is probably a 3 to 4 year process. Now, I will say this. Our debt is down. I think we were at 63% a couple of years ago. We're going to be at 55% now. So all of our money indicators are headed in the right direction. Fortunately, when we did go out to do, a big part of this is we had to redo some bonds that were fairly big. And we, even with the new Moody's rating, we did very well on those interest rates. What's very interesting is normally when you get bids on those, from my understanding from Ron and from the folks at Ellers, if you get 2 to 3, maybe 4 people that would bid on those, that's considered a good thing. We had 7. So that was, now I don't know that world of finance a lot. So, Ron and people, those financial wizards, they're having a big party. That's a great thing. I'm just glad of the interest rate that we got. So even though we had that negative impact to our Moody's rating, it was, people could see that this was being resolved. And I think that's why it didn't go down worse. And I think that we'll be coming back from that quicker.
For a point of understanding, when you say 5 or 7 people taking bids, what that means is there are 5 or 7 creditors who are willing to stepping up and say, we'll loan you.
Yes.
We'll take on your debt. Well, you look like a good, so when you say bids, it's kind of a reverse process as what we think of it as. In other words, they say, we'll do business with you, what you need in order to loan you money.
Right. And we've had, our relationship with Ellers is very good, and they've been working with Ron. And what's nice is when, when this first all started to happen back in January or February, I was just thinking, as well as many people, I think many people are in the city, is what the heck was going on? Where were the watchdogs? How did this happen? And because it really is such a simple process to just think, okay, this is the money coming out of this is the debt for this, and this is the fees. Why wouldn't you just pay that appropriately? Well, and it wasn't, and it was interesting because that we had some finance people say, well, this is not an uncommon way to do it, but it's not the suggested way. So it's like, okay, is it right or is it wrong? And you just can't get people to just, it's so hard, Jeff, for people to say, we made a mistake. It blows me away. But clearly we were wrong, because you can't say, yeah, we did it right, and we're $1.8 million in the negative. Oops. No, that means something was done wrong. So now that this mistake has been... Now, here's the nice thing about it is we caught our mistake, and I think that was a big part of why we weren't hit harder from Moody's, and why we good thing is we really caught it ourselves and then went to the mend. So when you see Ron's presentation on Tuesday and when we go to budgets, it is a big shift from that 1.8 to where we're going to end up being, and we still don't know what that final number is. It keeps getting lower and lower, which is good.
Yeah, and not only did you catch it, but you self-reported it, which they look favorably upon. But now, $1.8 million discrepancy, but you also refinanced some debt. Is the savings there enough to make up for the discrepancy, so to speak? Or are we talking about two different colors of money here?
No, a part of that is a huge savings. I want to say $450,000 is what we're saving off of that, and there were some other things by refinancing things earlier, prepaid interest. There was a lot. Now, that savings on just that part of it is not the whole thing. There's other cuts and there's other things that have been done, other allocations, and there'll be a full explanation of those Tuesday from Ron.
I find it interesting that you can refinance and refinance down when they looked at you as an account. You know, we talked about, Mike just brought up the credit rating part of it. You know? I mean, you're not as good of a risk as you were before, because the infusion of $1.8 million annually is no longer there. But yet they trusted that you're doing all the right things, so you must be showing them the books and saying, this is all we can do.
Well, and that's very true. I mean, that was, and as Mike said, because we self-reported, that adds a lot of credibility to it. But the other thing is, in municipalities, a lot of that money is guaranteed income. Property taxes and other types of taxing revenues and other revenues that come in from the state, those are pretty much guaranteed.
Now, you used the term before, where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about, what does this mean for us, the citizens? I mean, we talk on the radio here all the time about budget and numbers, and so there's cuts and what? I don't get my street plowed as often. I don't get as services. Are my taxes going up? What's the impact on me, the citizen?
So we're not going to cut services, because then and we're not looking to cut personnel, and we're not looking to cut services. Wait until there's a foot of snow before we're plowed. We're not going to do anything like that.
Not as many Christmas decorations, or what?
No, those will yeah. those will all still be up, because we can't. You still have to run your household. You know what I mean? And we have to do that. So it's probably going to come in the form of a tax issue. But we still don't know what that is, because the numbers are still rolling in. So we know what we see where we're getting our negative down to from that 1.8 is down dramatically. The more we can get that down, the less pain there is.
Simple as that. I guess we'll revisit this issue again, I'm sure, in the future when it comes around after the first of the year.
Yep.
Mike?
Am I still going to get the special news patrol squad car I asked for?
Yes.
Yeah. You'll have the one you have now.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
Thanks a lot.
It's going to get upgraded from the one you have now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they call it a unicycle. I'm not exactly.
Okay. I will look for that in the 2020 budget.
Okay.
Yes. And a helmet with a rotating light on top.
Yep. Look for it way in the back in the credits.
Yeah. In other words, I have to go to the police auction and piece together my own. Yeah.
Probably the best idea.
All right. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, talking with Mayor Bob McManus. You can too this first Friday in the month of October, live on WDLB, coming to you in video here on Marshfield Media Access. You can see us on channel 989 on your Charter Digital tier or Spectrum, or you can find them at marshfieldmediaaccess.org. Is it? Or yes, it is. Okay. Sorry. I should write that down, or just give me a sheet every week. Or at their Facebook page, Marshfield Media Access. We'll talk more. You can too here, 384-2191 in just a moment. You're watching and listening to the Inside program live on Friday, October 4th here at AM 1450 WDLB, coming to you in video on your Charter, I still say Charter, Spectrum Digital tier. Can't get over that again. You know, one of these old guys got the used-to-bes. Remember when it was on the corner? Remember when it got the used-to-bes? It used to be here, used to be there. And
right.
Kids today don't know what I'm talking about. And I guess it only matters to those of us who were there at the time, like so many things in life. Talking with Mayor Bob McManus live on the radio. You can too, 384-2191, 384-2191. There was also talk about the purchase of a property on 2nd and Chestnut, which is, I guess, on the same block as the city garage, just up there. The street doesn't go through there, so I that whole area between the Stephen J. Miller Complex, Thorogood Shoes, that whole block has been in people's mind from time to time over the years as something was going to be happening there. And one of the things that they had talked about was because of the expansion of the law enforcement building in Marshfield, that might be a spot where the city would be interested in purchasing, as it looks like it's coming up for the possibility that it could be bought. At this point in time, though, where do we? Is there any bigger picture you can tell us about, or is that just simply, was that something they talked about for law enforcement building?
Well, there's been work. The EDB, Economic Development Board, has been working on that 2nd Street corridor project, and so this, picking up that building right on the end is kind of a significant piece because it gives us options. The biggest option that we need right now is something for the police, because those police vehicles, 20 years ago, they didn't have the technology, and so their cars in the weather could kind of handle the highs, the heat and the cold. Now with the technology in there, computers in there and whatnot, it's really got to be climate controlled. And so we need more space. That police department is they're arm to arm. So one of the things is to pick up that property, the Baltus property, because we can use it right away to store vehicles there. And also, another thing is, depending on what is done with the police department, then that could be a parking lot. So there's options there. Or if something would happen with that 2nd Street corridor, we've got that property, because if somebody else went and purchased it and you're going to do something there, then you're going to end up paying more. So this project had been worked on for quite some time, long before it came to the council. And then it went through, it got through the EDB, and then the council had 3 months worth of closed session discussions on, do we do this? Do we not do this? There was a DNR thing there on contamination a long time ago, and since then that has been closed. And we went around back and forth with what was going to take place and what is the best interest, and the council determined that it is in the best interest to pick up that property. So there was a negotiation back and forth, and then the council agreed to that. And however, and before that, it would have to go to the planning commission. So if you can imagine, a project had been worked on for a year or two with the EDB, and then Josh Miller gets involved, and there's several months with him and the EDB and the seller, and going back and forth doing studies. So months and months of discussion. Well, then, before this can take place, it has to go to the planning commission. so that the planning commission can get a look at it, yes or no. Well, the planning commission had about a 5-minute presentation. So imagine yourself being one of those commissioners. You're getting a 5-minute presentation. They heard the word contamination. Is this the best? There just wasn't enough information, and so their recommendation was not to go through with it. So then that had to go back to council. It could have just been taken out of consent agenda because the code or the statute says that it has to go to the planning commission before final approval of or action by the council, but it doesn't say that it has to be approved. So then we came back to council. We had a lengthy discussion on it, and went over the concerns of the planning commission, which were good, valid concerns. And then it came out to be a 8-1 vote for. So we are going to move along with that. I think it's a good purchase.
I guess part of the reason was because of that discrepancy in the news between the commission and the council. People go, well, what's happening here?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to the phone here. Grab your headphones there. Let's talk to Lou. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, good morning, Mayor McManus.
Good morning.
Yes, it's been a while since I got a hold of the Marshfield News Herald, and one day I thought you were looking for like alderman or some kind of position in the municipality.
Mm-hmm.
And has it been filled?
That is in District 7. Jason Zaleski resigned from that position. He also is the alderman there. He also resigned from his county board supervisor seat. And so that is currently up, but you have to live in District 7.
What? Where is District 7? Please excuse me about that, because I'm still learning a lot about the community that I'm living in.
Sure. You could go to the city website, and it's got the aldermanic districts, and it would be for District 7. And in that, so
how do you go to the district website?
You go to the City of Marshfield website, and then you can go in there and you could see the aldermanic districts.
Oh,
and in there you will see District 7 there. And if you live in there, then you can send a letter of interest into the city clerk, and then you would be considered for that. It's open, I think, for another week.
Is that for men only? That's why they're called elder?
No. Oh. It's open to everyone.
What is your criteria for that?
All the criteria you could see on the
web?
On the website.
Oh, okay.
All righty.
Well, you have a good day.
Thank you very much. You too.
All right.
Goodbye.
Mike, thank you for the call. Do you have to be? Obviously, you have to live within that in order to be an alderperson. You don't have to live in the city to work for the city.
No, but to be an elected official, so each district has to have somebody from that district that represents that district.
All right. Let's stay with the phone here. Joanne, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I was just wondering, I got to ask the mayor a question. Is there any programs going to be added or discontinued from Parkview Apartments or Cedar Rail?
I'm not aware of anything that is going to be taken away from either.
I see.
I'm not aware of any. Is this Joanne?
Yep.
Joanne, you will be very, very happy to hear this. I brought this in because I was hoping you would be calling. Because you and I...
When don't I call?
You and I spoke before about the... right.
I don't have a computer, but as long as we get the Marshfield News Herald, we got the general store, we've got the Marshfield TV. What more do you need?
That is right. Well, you're going to be happy about this because I know before you were talking about dental care for seniors. And if you have a pen or pencil and paper, you want to write this down. On Saturday, October 26th, from 8 to 5 at the high school, 1401 East Becker, there's going to be a free vision, dental, and medical clinic. So you'll be able to go over there and get free eye exams, Glass, if you need glasses, I believe it's $10 for the frames. You will be able to get dental care, which would include cleanings, fillings, and extractions. Now, it won't be anything other than that. So it's cleanings, fillings, and extractions. And also medical care. There'll be blood pressure screenings and everything else. So it's a great thing being done. It is absolutely free. It is open to everyone. It's a free vision, dental, and medical clinic. It is being put on by the Seventh-day Adventist Church as well as the Marshfield Clinic and Dental Clinic. And there's going to be dentists there to where, again, you'll be able to have cleanings, extractions, and fillings. You'll be able to have eye work done as well as medical, and it's all free. So
Would you believe I just got a call I called the Hill up there because I'm on Medicare like a lot of other people are.
Sure.
And they did include dentistry with the thing. And she says it's ridiculously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's $35 every single month. But they do root canals and all this here stuff. And I says, do you lose it if you don't need it? Definitely. $35 a month for this.
Yeah.
Do the math. It's way out of proportion.
Right.
So.
Well, $35 a month, though, if you had to do a root canal outside of that, would be significant.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other thing, Joanne. Actually, today over at the Senior Center, there's a health fair going over, a 12th annual Senior Health Fair, Living Actively Longer. And so there's all kinds of programs over there. That's today at the Senior Center over there by the library. And there's transportation is being provided by Stony River. But that would be a great thing because there might be they're going to have all kinds of dental issues and medical. It is a great thing. I think there's about 250 to 300 people that go there. And so that's today at the Senior Center. So that would be a good thing to go to as well. But that other one I was just talking about with the free vision, dental, and medical, that again is on Saturday, October 26th from 8 to 5 at the high school.
Oh, okay. As far as WDLB is concerned, I'm sure I'm beginning to sound like a broken record.
No, we appreciate the fact
that... Especially with the general store. They are an excellent program. They sell.
Yep, they do.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you much.
Thank you.
All right. That's going on until noon today only, though. So it's going on right now until noon over at the Senior Center on 2nd Street. And don't forget, it's a one-way street then, that block. Mm-hmm. Turn the wrong way there. They've got signs up and everything, but they're trying it to see if they can get angle parking in there and more people closer to the front of the door. Was something that they talked about.
Well, and if you've noticed, if you've been over there, and I've gone by just because it's nice that we're doing this as a trial period to see. If you talk to the people in the Senior Center and the convenience it's given to them, there's a lot of support for it. So and there's a survey you could do right in front when you go in there on what your opinion of it is, and that is all going to be looked at before that final decision is made to keep it there or to just go back to where it's a two-way street. So if you are really for this or just don't like it at all, make sure you have your voice heard and go on over there to the 2nd Street Community Center and right when you go in the front door, you walk 20 yards and there's a big box there that says parking survey and write down your thoughts.
All right, 384-2191 is our number here live on this first Friday of the month of October. You're watching us on Spectrum, channel 989 on your digital tier, or you can watch us at marshfieldmediaaccess.org, their Facebook page, Marshfield Media Access. We'll be posting this as soon as the post-production gets done, as we say here, and we pretty it up a little bit. I don't know if they can help us much, but we'll try. We use the filters that they use here. We'll put the dog ears on us or something, like the kids do on their phone. We'll be back with more. You can too. Join us here on the radio live. AM 1450 WDLB's Insight program here for this first Friday in October. We're talking with Mayor Bob McManus live on radio. You can too, 384-2191. You may be watching us on Marshfield Media Access on the Spectrum Digital tier, $9.89, or you can go to their website, marshfieldmediaaccess.org, or on their Facebook page. Winding down our last part of the talk here, there has been a special election called by the governor, and that requires the city to participate in that. What about the extra costs for that were probably unbudgeted?
Yeah, that's an issue, and I've heard different things. Like now they're going to postpone it because I believe it was a holiday, a religious holiday. I want to say Jewish holiday that it was on, but I'm not sure if but that's the last I heard. But yeah, it's a lot of different expense, and it's through the holidays. So, many times you're going to be paying overtime. And at that time of year, it's going to be harder to get people to come out to work those. So we're still finding out how that's going to be and what kind of added expense that's going to be.
I notice on your Facebook page that there is a election inspector position open through the City of Marshfield Clerk's office. So if you are interested in helping with elections, they need people fairly regularly to man the polls and do other things, and that's under her control, so to speak.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to the phone one more time. David, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I've got a couple items. First, I only had one, but there was a comment about the angle of parking spaces along 2nd Street, and I think they're working out fine, and I hope they become permanent because it does add some much-needed parking to that facility. But my recommendation would be that they convert the terraces to hard surface to allow folks direct access to the sidewalks rather than backtracking into traffic to get into the main sidewalk up to the building. But that's just something I'll throw out there. The other thing my primary reason for calling is now that UW Marshfield Wood County has been changed to UWSP at Marshfield, is there going to be a reduced financial obligation for Marshfield and Wood County residents in maintaining the physical plant at that campus? The reason I'm asking this is the financial obligation never really has been detailed on our tax bills as UW Marshfield Wood County per se, but the bill says something like jurisdictions, and let me just turn off. So the jurisdictions listed on our tax bill say Wood County and Marshfield. That's because we live south of McMillan Street, so we have those two jurisdictions listed on our tax bill. It would be different if we lived north of McMillan, because then we'd be in Marathon County. And I'm assuming Marathon County residents in Marshfield don't have any obligation toward UW Marshfield Wood County under the county, but they do have a component under the city. And has that changed now with the change over to UWSP at Marshfield?
No, it's a great question. It has not changed. It's still where basically the city and the county own the property, and UWSP at Marshfield, they take care of the insides, and in essence, they are the tenants there, if you will. But we do still own the property, and so we do still have a financial obligation there. The issue comes into, and I was speaking with Michelle Bornke yesterday, who's one of the executives over there at UWSP, on enrollment and everything else. They just put in a master's program, and I believe they have 35 people in that right now. It's either 30 or 35. And they have other programs there as well. So what this has done is you've got your traditional folks that go there. You could still get your 2-year degree there. Now they have a couple of 4-year degrees as well. The reason it's beneficial to the city and to the county because all the people in Wood County can come there, is you could get that higher level, university level, even master's level education at the price that we're accustomed to paying. So if you can imagine the local residents here, instead of going away to a different, say, La Crosse or Eau Claire, Oshkosh, and paying that, $13,000 to $18,000 a year, here it's $5,000. So it's a significant thing for, there are very few cities that have what we have here in Marshfield. We have great elementary, middle, and high school, both private and public schools, as well as a great trade school and a university right here. So it does, I don't want to say paid for itself, but it does provide a lot of jobs here. Now, the issue is with declining enrollment, you have to be careful about that and how much money that you put in, because we know that, and I don't know why this is. I think it was sad that for a long time it was thought of as, if you don't have a degree, then you are somehow less than. And so there were a lot of people that just started going to college and running up enormous student loan. I mean, enormous. We're not talking about $10,000 or $15,000, but $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, and then come out and go get a $30,000 a year job, and it just takes you a couple hundred years to pay it back, and you're strapped. So I think what's happened now, and you see this, enrollment all around across the country is down because there are a lot of people that are leaving high school, graduating high school, and then, they're going back to the trades. They're going back to electrician and plumbing and go be a line person for a utility and making really good money. And so, then not having this debt. So the issue there that runs into a concern is, okay, now you've got declining enrollment. You've got to be really careful there, because we can't burden the taxpayer with that if it's going to decline too much, which doesn't appear to be, and we know that enrollment is down there, but while they're transitioning to these other courses, I think it's good. The other thing is a lot of people that maybe did go get their 2-year degree, and now they're working at the clinic, or they're working at Rail or many of the other different companies that are here, and they want to go back to school. They want to go back part-time. There are a lot more people now going to we still call it the Wood, even though it's UWSP, Marshfield, everyone still calls it the Wood. But they could still go and they could take a course or two over the semester and slowly get that 4-year degree. The other nice thing about the way they've done this now is you can be enrolled here here in Marshfield, and you can also be in either Wausau, or you are still technically a student of UWSP. So you have an opening to so many different classes and opportunities there that it really is, for now, it looks like a very, very good thing. And our financial commitment has been the same. I know it will be coming up for review, not this budget cycle, so we're committed through this. But in our next budget cycle, then it'll be up for review for another 5 years, and we're going to take a hard look at it to make sure that it's penciling out.
Okay, well, can you give me an estimate of what the percentage of their operating budget is supplied by our financial obligation?
The city, we put in a fixed amount. We give them a stipend as well as the county. I believe it's $75,000, but I would have to get back to you on that for the firm amount, and that's just how much we put in. They take care of everything else, and that $75,000 is to take care of the real estate that we own. We own the buildings, and we own that we have to make sure that there's snow plowing and whatnot done. But it is a fixed cost that we do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's very helpful.
And if you want to get like what that actual number is, you can go to our website and you could look at the budget, and the exact amount is there. So and it's a fixed cost.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You bet.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call, and thanks for listening and participating here. We're talking with Mayor Bob McManus on his first Friday in October. The campus was added to with what is called the STEM building, and that was done with private funds for the most part, if almost all. And then that building becomes part of city-county property now, as it's part of the campus?
Yes.
So how much is city and how much is county? I thought that was a county-owned facility that was under the county boards.
Well, right now we give the same amount each. So I have to get back to you on that. That's a great question.
Obviously, you don't have any tax because it's property. It's public property, so you're not getting anything off of it. So any improvements are moot as far as that point is concerned.
Right.
But I just don't know who. As a taxpayer, it doesn't matter whether it's coming out of my county pocket or my city pocket.
Right.
It's that doesn't matter to me as much as it does about who's. It seems like if it's ours, the city of Marshfield, the responsibility here, that doesn't seem fair if everybody's stakeholders in this and we wind up taking care of it, so to speak.
Yeah, it's been the arrangement for, and that will be coming up, how much we're putting in. But in essence, the county and the city own it.
Oh, I think it's beneficial. I don't have a problem with my tax dollars from the city helping to keep that facility viable here.
Right.
Just like you said, I mean, it's now opened up, if anything else, with the restructuring of the university, a lot of opportunity out here. But he brought up an interesting point about, I guess you called it jurisdictions or things. In other words, if you could be still a citizen of the city of Marshfield but live on the other side of the county line, would your tuition be different since it's Wood County and city of Marshfield? That's help.
No,
you're a mayor. I don't know. I'm asking you this question about the university. That's their workings and not yours. But
so your tuition wouldn't be different just because of the county you live in. It would only be different if you were out of state. So when you go to, UWSP,
state-run university, it would be same everywhere.
Same thing. And they're, like I say, their tuition there for a full-time student is about $5,000. So it really is a tremendous savings, and it's a big convenience for the people that live here within the city.
That's where the real money saver comes in.
Oh my gosh!
The housing and
the benefit to the people that live here that take advantage of that is the financial benefit to the citizens is incredible for those that want to take advantage of that.
I would imagine that is part of the proverbial sales package that the city has when looking at filling our industrial parks and trying to coax businesses to come here and relocate. It's that lifestyle part of it, that bigger part of it. The pool is something we didn't have a chance to talk about. There's an actual organization. I was surprised. MOAC, or what's it called? Marshfield Aquatic Center. Marshfield.
Yeah. And that has been going great. Our fundraising is up to where I believe we're up to $600,000 now. We've had $150,000 from Prevention Genetics. The Adler Foundation did $250,000. We just found out that Simplicity Credit Union has just signed on for $50,000. And then there's been some other donations, $5,000, and there'll be more and more information coming out on that. But the fundraising for it has gone very, very well. As we call around to residents of the city looking for different donations, it's been very well received. So we're very optimistic that we're going to get to that $3 million sooner than later.
The acronym is MOAC, Marshfield Outdoor Aquatic Center. So that will be something that people will be hearing more of, I think, as time gets closer, and there will be more buzz on the street about it. And
absolutely. If you go to the Facebook page, you can see it. And if you go to Parks and Rec, there's a great thing there. The city has a nice part on the website there on this pool. And if you see it, Aquatic Center, Yeah, it's got 2 big pool areas. It's got slides going in. It's got diving boards. It's got a lazy river, and which is great, especially if you're maybe you're rehabbing from maybe you just had a knee replacement, like I just did 3 weeks ago, which I will. So I'm putting a plug here for the clinic. It was outstanding. The service was amazing. The experience was amazing. But let's say you're getting around to you had a knee replacement, or maybe you had a knee surgery or ankle. When you go in those lazy rivers and you go against it, that really helps in your rehab. So this is going to serve so many different purposes. It's going to have a picnic area. It's going to have a family gathering area. It's going to have a concession stand. I mean, it is really going to be a place where people can go and they can enjoy it. The biggest thing that we've heard, we had some people say, and all opinions matter. They're very important. Is it good if it's only going to be open for 4 months? Well, yes, because people want to be outside. And so I think this will be a great addition to the city.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it monthly coming in here and allowing us to visit with you on radio.
Thank you.
Mayor Bob McManus on today's Insight program this first Friday of the month.